Sun is rising, feel the warmth on my face. There's a lot to do now, but there ain't no race. I sip my coffee, I'm feeling fine. Don't need to work yet, I'm gonna take my time. It's a brand new day, gotta take it on my way, gotta take it on my way.
Hello, everyone. Oh, so presenting. I'm very delighted that today I can announce very first webinar of going remotely and how to basically settle up in Croatia. You see, it's noon. The church is ringing the bell. That's something that you will have to get used in Croatia. How are you guys? We have here Kevin and his wife Lisa Macadam from UK. And Sara Dyson from USA that actually are already digital nomads. Or Sara, are you calling like that? Or what is your status in Croatia?
I wouldn't call myself a digital nomad because I'm not nomadic. I've been in the same place for 9 years. So maybe remote worker?
Yeah, that's maybe the better thing.
Yeah.
Well, I hope more people will join us. If not, for everyone that will watch later, it will be on the Going Remotely website. So basically, idea is to create series of webinars around 30-45 minutes long, where we will present like the topics that are happening at the moment regarding digital nomad movement, regarding remote workers in Croatia, and tackle the problems basically that are happening. So I'm very happy to have you here today with us. Basically, I lived abroad. My teammates lived abroad for like a couple of years. Me personally, 7 years. And for Croatian, it was not so easy even to relocate back to Croatia. There were like lots of questions. How do I do that? How do I do this? Okay, in which country am I living at the moment? So this is also something that will for sure help me and my teammates to undisclose. Oh, we have more people coming in. Perfect. So let's maybe start. So first question, basically for Sara. You moved here in 2012, if I'm not mistaken. And how come? Like you lived in Texas, if I'm not wrong, in USA, and then you decided to come to Split.
Well, actually, I left Texas in 2006. So I had already been gone from Texas for 6 years before I came to Croatia. But I knew that I wanted to make my home in Europe since I was little. And I had lived in Amsterdam for a year, but then they made me leave because I didn't have a right to be there. And I wanted to come back to Europe, and I had come to Croatia in 2011 on a holiday, and I really liked it. And I thought, why not give this a try? I know I don't know anything about it at all. I don't know anyone there. But it seems like a place that I could give it a try. And if it didn't work out, it'd just be a long vacation, whatever. I'll go back to America to lick my wounds and regroup. But it ended up working out. Now I've been here 9 years. So I love it. Can't imagine being anywhere else.
Okay, and Lisa and Kevin, you came this year in March, if I'm not mistaken.
Say that again, sorry. We just had noise in our background then.
Oh, I'm asking, you came this year in March, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah. Why did you decide to replace the UK with Croatia?
Yeah, so we, over the years, we've both done jobs that have been partially working from home as remote workers and in offices. So we were sort of used to the home working kind of thing. Because of COVID, actually, both of our jobs ended up being completely remote. And we were having a chance conversation one day about, you know, in the future, if we retired, where might we like to live? And we were talking about the criteria for that. So sunshine, great food, beautiful views, beaches, and all the rest of it. And just as we were having that conversation, COVID struck, and we ended up working from home. And we said, actually, why do we need to wait? And we started to explore possible countries to go to because of Brexit. Actually, you know, it wasn't easy for us to go and live somewhere else anymore. And then we saw that Croatia were doing this digital nomad visa. We've been here on holiday twice before. And my husband actually has got a friend in Zagreb and a friend in Karlovac. And we said, you know, we absolutely love the country, the people, the food, the beaches, everything. And that was it. We just decided it was for us, and we did research on the digital nomad visa. We struggled to find answers on a lot of the questions, but Sarah's website was actually a mine of information and helped us tremendously. So yeah, chance conversation, and oddly a positive that came out of COVID.
Okay. And in which city are you now, actually?
Yeah, so we're in Novigrad in Dalmatia. So my husband's a mortgage advisor, and I'm a project manager and for a technology company, so we can do all of our work online. And Novigrad's a bit of a sleepy place.
It's definitely not a city.
It's not a city. It's not a city.
Yeah, it's more like a yes. For everyone, maybe just a nice note, like in Croatia, maybe we have 5 cities and everything else is like more like a town, and then like lots of villages. So cities will be definitely Zagreb, that's the capital, then Split, the biggest city in Dalmatia. After that, we have Osijek, which is in Slavonia. We have Rijeka, which is also on the coast, but more north. And I don't know, I will say Zadar is also probably the city where it's quite normal to live during the whole year.
Yeah, definitely. Novigrad is in Dalmatia, because there's 2 Novigrads, but Novigrad in Dalmatia is it's a harbour town. There's professional fishermen here. It's also a UNESCO World Heritage Site. There's a fortress and lots of old buildings here, and we have a dog, and we can just walk the dog, and it's a beautiful place. So I think you know, obviously I'm sure we'll get onto it later, but choosing the right place for you. But we're deliriously happy here. We never want to leave, so it's lovely.
And Sara, since you're here, like let's say 10 years, what changed from the day you came till now?
Oh, a million things have changed.
Okay, I hope positively.
Yes and no. I would say there's definitely more restaurants. There's more foreigners. There's a bigger foreigner community. There's been tons of infrastructure projects, because I got here a year before Croatia entered the EU. So I feel very lucky because I was able to see that kind of transition happen. And so it's been amazing to see all of the infrastructure projects that have happened since that transition, which has been good. I would say that a negative thing is it's just gotten so much more expensive for everything, but especially rental costs have skyrocketed quite a bit. I mean, there's
Can you maybe specify with some numbers, because we don't all have perception what's expensive, what's cheap.
Sure. I can speak predominantly to Split. That's what I'm most familiar with. But you know, it's still Croatians. Local Croatians are still expecting to maybe pay between 300 and 400 euros for a 1-bedroom apartment in Split, but that's not what's being asked for. It's being asked for 700 euros, 800 euros, and not even in the city center, like outside the city center. And there's always been like really high demand and very low supply, because most of the apartments that people aren't living full time in are being used for vacation rentals. So there's not many rentals that are being let out for the entire year. So there's not a tremendous amount of choice. And I think with the influx of foreigners over the years, especially now, because of the digital nomad permit, rents have gone up even higher, because when foreigners are coming from America, Australia, the UK, Canada, they're coming to Croatia and they're like, 700 euros for rent. That's a bargain. No, not in Croatia terms. So when people are willing to pay those inflated rents, it just gives permission to continue to raise those up. So, you know, that has been.
If I might just add here, like I mean, I have Croatian friends, of course, and some of them are still renting, not all of them buy. But so indeed, even Croatians are paying those prices. It's not that it's for foreigners. There is no discount anymore to anyone. So I mean, that's maybe something that people expect, that salaries here should be higher. But yeah, we're still working on that, I think.
I mean, I don't know how anyone. It's extremely challenging to survive on a Croatian salary and also pay rent. Like I get why so many locals live with their families. That makes sense.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a case. Yeah.
Yeah. But when you're a foreigner and you're here and you don't have a family to live with, you know, it is a challenge. There's quite a disparity between salaries and what the cost of rent is. It's way out of proportion with each other.
Okay. But then what kind of permit do you have at the moment? Like, that's not anymore Digital Nomad Visa. I mean, are you a citizen or?
Well, the Digital Nomad permit did not exist when I got here. Yeah. So right now I have permanent residence, which is great. I've had that for about a year and a half. But when I first got here, I was actually on a family reunification with an EU citizen. So I was married when I came to Croatia. And actually, because we came here before Croatia entered the EU, an EU citizen couldn't even just go ahead and get residence. So we had to open up a company, and he was the director and I was his spouse. So that's what I was on for the first couple of years. And then after that, although I should mention, because when you open a company now to get residence, you have to invest 200,000 kuna. You have to hire 3 full-time Croatians.
That's less than 3,000 euro for everyone, and like what, around $3,500.
The 200,000 kuna.
20,000 kuna. That's how much.
Yeah.
That's 20,000 euros, I think. Yeah.
€2,000 if you open a company, about 2,200 for the Digital Nomad Visa.
Right. Yes. So if you're opening a company, you have to, hire 3 full-time Croatians. You have to invest a large amount of money. But when we got here, it was pre-EU, and we didn't have to do that. We had to only invest 20,000 kuna in the business to be able to open it. And then about 3 years into being in Croatia, I switched to being on my own, and there wasn't an actual program. It was they didn't know how to deal with me. There wasn't anything in the law that defined how to deal with my situation. So the Split MOP actually assembled a committee to vote on me, like it was Survivor, and to decide whether or not to let me stay. And they ended up letting me stay, and now I'm here 9 years, and I don't have to leave, and they can't kick me out. So yay! But I'm applying for citizenship this year. I'm actually going back to the States in July to get my background checked, my apostille birth certificate, and so I will start that process at the end of the summer.
Okay. Lisa and Kevin, I hope your process was a little bit smoother, that they didn't have to vote on you. Can you maybe share with us some of the hardest things in the process, or how the process actually went?
The process went reasonably smoothly. So I think one of the things Sara sort of suggests, and followed her advice, was the first thing first is we came across on a 3-month tourist, on the basic 90 days that you're allowed to stay here. And because we did that, and then we applied for the Digital Nomad residency towards the end of the 90 days, it means that we'll have been able to stay here for a full 15 months. So, basically I would suggest if people do it, that they apply, within, say, a month before the end of it. And then when we actually got a permit approved on the 2nd of June, which was a few days after the 30th of May when ours would have run out. So we've got the full 15 months in. The actual process was relatively smooth. The only hiccups we had were we submitted all of our documents online, but then when we got to the MUP after we'd had our second police interview and we're going to get the actual permit stuff done, we didn't have our official government documents, our background checks in the UK. They weren't apostilled, so we had to send those back to the UK, get them apostilled and brought back. The only other sort of hiccups we had were around the processes that, despite submitting everything online, the lady had everything there in a file that she'd printed off, but then she wanted us to complete the application form again, so paper-based.
She had to send that application somewhere with our photograph, because you have to go and get photographs taken so that she can stick a photograph on it. And although we'd completed the information online, she needed a paper version to stick the photograph onto. And so we had to fill out the same information again on a paper form when we went for the visa, which was fine, but we were trying, obviously we knew it was important that the information matched exactly. So we were trying to remember what we'd put on the online form so that it was exactly the same as the paper form. It's only a small thing, but obviously when you her English was pretty good, but with the translation bit as well, that took a little bit of getting our head round and things like that. That was the only thing.
Yeah, and I mean, just like we had our landlady's husband came with us to the meeting with the original police officer that wanted to interview us, and he didn't speak much English. Obviously, we speak limited Croatian, so he did that translation. And then we went to the MUP building to get the permit. Again, he did some of the translations for us there, because again, she spoke English, but then she wasn't the happiest of people, was she? So
yeah. So the top tip there was, if you can find a friendly person who speaks Croatian that can help you and accompany you, and the police and the MUP are happy with that, I would definitely advise that. Because I think one of the things that we noticed is, for the police officer in the MUP, I don't know whether we're the first digital nomads in Zadar or not, but the process is brand new to them. And the lady in the MUP was quite nervous. She was looking through a pile of folders like this at all the rules, and she was getting a bit frustrated, and it was easier for her to speak to somebody in Croatian when she was feeling a bit tense than it was to then try and work out in her head how to translate it to English. So having our landlord with us so that she could speak to him was fantastic. That was really helpful.
You're on mute.
You're on mute, Dora.
Dora.
Oops, sorry. Yeah, I just wanted to say, so your main message for the government will be like, make sure the documentation is the easiest as possible. Don't ask for same information twice.
Yeah, if it's going to be done in paper,
I love this.
Yeah, if it's going to be done in paper, just have it done in paper. Or if it's going to be done online, give the person another piece of paper that they can stick a photo to. I mean, it's just a bit of a simple thing. I think making sure that their MUP folk are adequately trained and they feel adequately trained in the process will make it less stressful for them, but less stressful for the people that are applying as well. I think that's a definite message. And I think it's an understanding, the whole apostle procedure. So in the UK, the criminal check that we got is from the government. So in the UK, they are a higher form of legal body than a court in that sense. So we would never get anything apostilled in the UK if it was on government.
It's not a term that you hear.
It's not a term that you hear. Yeah. So we, for people coming from different countries where that might be the same, we thought that was enough. And then obviously when we found out it wasn't, we just had to, it was a bit tricky sending that original document back. Luckily, we had a friend who is a lawyer, so that he helped us and things like that. So it's those things that in your country you might not know, but they're a process in Croatia.
Yeah. It's for sure not the easiest, but yeah, I'm sure that they're like, it's probably not so hard. Let's put it like that. So we don't discourage others. You manage, so that's good. I have now a question for Sara, because when we were talking about this webinar, you actually put something super interesting, and that's fingerprints for Americans that want to apply for Digital Nomad Visa.
Yes, and it's not even just Americans. It's also South Africans have to get fingerprints for their background check. North Macedonians have to. There are a number of countries around the world that require that you get fingerprints to be able to get this criminal background check. And it's extremely challenging to get fingerprints done in Croatia. And because this background check is a brand new requirement for 2021, there are a lot of people who are moving to Croatia specifically for the digital nomad permit, but also maybe they've married a Croatian or there's some other basis that they're coming here and they have no idea about this background check. And so they get here, then they find out about it because MUP tells them. And then they're at a loss not knowing how to get their...
Maybe just explain what is MUP.
Yes,
it's a shortcut for what?
Yes.
Can you explain
So MUP is the ministry that handles immigration. They are also the police. So when you apply for residence, you go to MUP, M-U-P.
It's like basically, most of Croatians think MUP is only police, but no, they are doing also this kind of background checks and so on. So basically, what let's use American as an example.
Yeah.
Because we have quite some requests from USA. So they come here, and then basically they're stuck. Or are there some solutions?
Well, they're not ideal. So there are some notary publics that will take your fingerprints. That's how I did it, except my fingerprints got rejected from the FBI. Now, I don't know if that's because they weren't taken right or because of my compulsive hand washing. I don't know. It could have been either. But you can actually take your fingerprints yourself. I can't speak for other countries, but I do know that the FBI allows you to do your own fingerprints if you feel comfortable doing that. And I spoke to an American last week who actually did it that way, and the FBI accepted his fingerprints. But not everyone is comfortable doing that. And if you don't find a notary public to do it, then there's only one other option that we have found so far. There is a detective agency in Split that will do digital fingerprints for the low price of 400 euros. They're the only agency in all of Croatia that is licensed to do digital fingerprints, which is ironic because the person who invented the fingerprinting method is a Croatian. But for some reason, it is near impossible to get fingerprints professionally taken in the States. So I absolutely recommend to anyone who
Maybe
is planning
someone
to
can
come
start a
here.
potential business out of it.
Honestly, I looked into it. I
Okay,
really did
and
look
what are
into
the
it.
findings?
Yeah, but then it's, if there's only one agency that is licensed to do it in Croatia, presumably that implies that it's pretty complicated to get the license to do it in Croatia. But I will admit it is not off the table. The U.S. Embassy will not do it. We actually contacted most of the biggest embassies for other countries all around Croatia. They won't do it. MUP, the police, will only do it for Croatian citizens. They will not do it as a service for foreigners. Yes, they take your fingerprints, your pointers, and your thumbs whenever you get residence, but you need to provide a set of all 10 in 2 different kinds of scenarios. So that's not an option either. So it's best that you do this before you leave America. You can do it at the post office. They will send it to the FBI, but that's not the only issue. The other issue is the apostille, because to get the apostille, it has to be done by the Department of State, and they were closed due to COVID for a lot of months, and so they're very backed up now. So their current estimated wait time is 15 weeks. And if you come to Croatia and you don't even have your fingerprints yet, there is no way that that the ministry is going to allow you to be here for 6 months without having that thing done. So it's just best to be prepared before you come here, or at least have the background check when you arrive. If you don't have the apostille when you get here, that's okay, because the police have been actually really flexible on that, because they can see that you have a background check, you just don't have the apostille. So they have been very kind, which is not always the norm for the police. So they have been very understanding for Americans in that situation, which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily for Brits, we didn't need to bother with fingerprints. The first fingerprints we had taken was at the MUP for the residency card. So you think the MUP would offer that as a service and then make some money from it?
Well, I hope they do, because they could make money for it. This is a service that they could charge for. And there are a lot of Americans in this situation. It would make things so much easier. But even aside from that, you know, I'm not applying for residence, but I'm applying for citizenship, and I have to give a background check. There are lots of spouses of Croatians that are applying for citizenship, you know, so we also have to do the exact same thing. So it would be nice to have that option.
Yeah, definitely, and understandable. But okay, now we were a little bit negative. Let's we are like let's say towards the end of our webinar with questions. Kevin and Lisa, last time when I talked with you, you told me I'm buying a house in Croatia, or you already bought it. I'm not sure anymore. And basically, you also, that means that you probably like it, but you also stated one problem over here, and that problem is that now you're on digital nomad visa. And after that, you have to change it towards some other visa. And then here, Sara gave you, like, let's say, a good advice, what you can do. Yeah, I don't know which one of you want to explain. Maybe first Lisa and Kevin explain us the situation. And then Sara, here, it will be great if you can share the advice that you gave to them.
Yeah. So basically we like it here. We want to, you know, make this our home. But as it stands at the moment with the digital nomad visa, you just have to stay for 12 months. And then our understanding was that after that, if you want to reapply for it, you have to leave for 3 months, and then you can then come back in on your tourist visa. And then after 6 months have passed, you can apply for the digital nomad visa again. Now, if you own a house, you can have residency for 6 months plus your 3 months on your tourist visa. So my understanding is from Sara is that we can flip-flop between each visa to stay here permanently, or else we would have had to leave next 2nd of June, right in the middle of the summer. So
yeah, and the one thing, if we had a message to the government there, is if you've got digital nomads, great people who love your country, who want to, you know, spend their income here, if you make them leave at the end of the 12 months and don't have some kind of option that's the right for the country and the person, they might go to Montenegro and they might love it, and you might lose them for 12 months. So I appreciate it's important that they keep to the law and things like that, but it would be to rethink the policy around the end of that, because not everybody, we're going to buy a house, hopefully we've put an offer in, we're waiting to hear, we're going to renovate a completely derelict stone building. So again, hopefully the government can see we want to put money into the economy and improve the area and things. But yeah, just have a think about that situation if that's what they want. But Sara, you had some advice for us that basically we can, you know, stay within the rules, didn't you?
Yeah, so when you're reading the law, the Croatian law, some things are really specific and some things are a bit vague. And some things are allowed simply because they are not banned. And this is one of those things. So whenever you're looking at the language of the digital nomad permit, like Kevin says, it says that, you know, you essentially all it says is that once you have your permit, once it expires, you have to wait 6 months until you can apply again. And that's all it says. But basically, in practice, that means you have to leave for 90 days. You can come back as a tourist for 90 days, and then you can apply after a 6-month period. That exact same rule is for all the other permits as well. But that's if you're applying on the same basis. If you're not applying on the same basis, then that rule doesn't apply. So it doesn't say actually in the law, if you change basis, you don't have to leave. It doesn't say that explicitly, but because it's not forbidden, then you can do that. And that is something that I've confirmed with immigration lawyers, and we've also confirmed that with the ministry. I mean, ultimately, every case is different, and the ministry can change their mind from day to day. But I have spoken to a lot of people who have started to implement this, who have done maybe volunteer prepayment of rent, ownership of a house, and they've kind of bounced around. So I think now that there's this digital nomad option, what is really great about that is that it's just another option that people can kind of fluctuate with and bounce between, you know, different options. So that is something that people could do. After the digital nomad permit, they could switch to prepayment of rent or ownership of a house. Those are options.
And what are maybe the most common questions that you're receiving from other digital nomads?
Well, one of the most common is, will I have to pay taxes in Croatia? And with the digital nomad permit, you actually have an exemption in the tax code specifically for digital nomads. So there's an exemption on working income. So the work that you're doing while you're in Croatia, you're not subject to paying income tax in Croatia. Now that doesn't mean that you are, released of your obligations in your home country. It's still important that you're aware of what those obligations are. But as far as Croatia is concerned, they're not going to tax you on your working income. Now, there is no exemption on passive income. Some people have passive income. Passive income is like non-working income. So like from rents, or maybe you have interest in some company, and any kind of income that's not associated with work. Capital gains is not passive income, so that doesn't apply. But if you have passive income, it's important to understand that in Croatia's eyes, you are not exempt from reporting that to Croatia. Croatia does not have visibility into anything that happens outside of Croatia.
But you are talking for all citizens, or this is specific for Americans?
All citizens, everyone.
All citizens. Okay, that's good to know.
The tax system in Croatia, which is a huge question that I get a lot, is it's residence-based. It's not citizenship-based. So once you're here for 183 days, then you're considered a tax resident of Croatia. So it's important to understand, we could talk about taxes in Croatia for hours, but it's just important to understand in the simplest in the simplest of terms, for the purposes of the digital nomad permit, you have an exemption on working income. You do not have an exemption on passive income in Croatia.
And that's one of the reasons that drew us to Croatia, because we were initially looking. We just come off when we started to look at this. We came off a holiday from Italy, and we were like, let's look at Italy. But then when we looked at Italy, for us to get any residency there, we had to have passive income, not earned income. And if we had earned income, it had to be paid into an Italian company that we would have had to set up. So our employers would have had to pay an Italian company, so the Italian system could tax us. And we were like, and then we looked up Croatia, and they weren't doing that. And some people have said, well, is that fair on the Croatians because of the fact that we are, over here but not paying any taxes? Well, the reason why the residency permit, the digital nomad residency permit has sort of come about is to encourage us to come and spend our disposable income here. Also, we're not like a bind on their health service, because you have to have private medical insurance to be over here as well. So, and what is unusual for us as Brits, but probably not unusual for anybody else on the call, is that if we want to use the roads, we have to pay a toll. Whereas we don't do that in the UK neither. So actually, we are contributing to the economy. And I read an article the other week saying that, a tourist will come to the country and spend 2 weeks here and spend X amount of pounds. I dread to think we did a top up the other day, and since the beginning of March, I think we spent about at least 25,000 euros, mainly on food, going to restaurants.
Food and wine.
Because it's so affordable to eat over here. It's just like, why would we bother cooking? So it's, we are contributing to the economy.
What do you like to eat the most here? Maybe just like light question. What is your favorite Croatian dish?
Krempita.
Kevin knows krempita.
Okay.
I like the gnocchi pasticada. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's absolutely amazing. And
sure, something like that, but you went like more continental.
Oh, no, hang on. Cruffins.
Oh yeah, there is a bakery in Zagreb called
Korkia?
Korica or something.
Yes.
And they do
croissant muffins.
A croissant muffin with caramel in the middle. Oh, yeah, I have eaten pastries in over 17 different countries in the world, and that is the best pastry I've ever had in my life. It is absolutely amazing. But yeah, we
are sending this video to the owner of that place. I'm pretty sure she will be very happy. The best commercial ever. Okay. Sara, what do you like to eat?
Actually, my favorite Croatian dish is paštica.
As well, okay.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And the best one I've ever had, which has yet to be conquered is at this winery outside Split near Scene, maybe like 40 kilometers outside. Oh, it's spectacular. It's just like my eyes roll back in my head. It's so good. And I've tried to make it once and it was okay, but I want to keep trying to develop my own recipe because I just love it. And for anyone who doesn't know what pashchitsada is, it's kind of like a pot roast. It's a big slab of beef that's been marinated in vinegar and garlic and spices, and then it's cooked in this like really rich beef gravy with wine and root vegetables.
Making my mouth water.
I know. And it's served with gnocchi, and it's just when it's done right, it's excellent.
But I've got to say, yeah, the big surprise for me when we came on holiday here, but we've experienced it since, is that Croatian wine and Croatian olive oil, I would go as far as to say, is my favorite of both in the entire world of anything. The wine here is a completely hidden secret. We found out when we went to Croatia that part of the reason we can't buy one of the wines there is because they only have enough for the people on the island, so you can't buy it anywhere. And
it's
then
a hidden secret because you've got 18 bottles down there.
Yeah, well, I did buy some while I was there, but and the olive oil, Spanish, Greek, Italian olive oil, I love. But some of the complex olive oils that I've had here, just with bread and a glass of wine, and I think that's one of the things we love about the quality of the food here compared to bigger countries where things are mass produced. Things are not mass produced here. So you'll eat food here that you will pay 5 times the price for in the UK because it will be considered to be local and artisan and everything like that. And it's, the little shop next door has got old Coke plastic bottles where the local olive place has put their olive oil in it, and it's some of the best olive oil I've ever tasted. So yeah, if anyone's not already in Croatia, you're in for some food heaven when you get
although
there.
I probably wouldn't recommend Croatian for vegans.
No,
there is some vegan options, but basically
limited.
If you are offended by
vegetarians can go here quite well. I'm very
Zagreb's okay.
If you're offended by meat, and also if you're, no offense, but if you're one of these Americans that like, I want a mocha chocolate orange frappuccino, it's just like you can have a black coffee, a macchiato, and that's about it.
It'll be the best coffee you've ever had, but yeah, you won't get all your Starbucks choices.
Yeah, we don't have Starbucks here for everyone. I think Costa Coffee tried to open it in Zagreb, but very fast they were closed.
And it's
people regarding that, like cappuccino is already advanced.
Yeah. The one thing that I have had to learn to live without, one of the hardest things,
which has saved us thousands of pounds. Is in the UK we have Amazon Prime. So we were trying to explain to somebody in Novigrad what Amazon Prime was, and it's like I'm sitting at home and I have something in my head that goes, oh, I'd like to buy that, and I go online and it arrives the next day, and then that was like. We chose to live in Novigrad. I think if you're in Zadar or Split, you've got great access to shops. But if you're going to live somewhere a bit more rural, getting stuff delivered is not really an option. So you're going to have to get in the car or the bus or whatever and go to the shop. So tiny little culture change things, most of them positive.
Okay, we are getting a little bit towards the end. We said 30-45 minutes. This is our first webinar. So anyhow, please everyone share your feedback with us. We really want to know if the format is good. We want to maybe that we do it even longer. But yeah, I have basically a final question for Sara, because Lisa and Kevin already said what the message for the government. But Sara, what is your message for the government after like 10 years?
Two messages. One is offer fingerprinting as a service to foreigners. I think that would be beneficial for both foreigners and also the police. But second is to have standardized English at the foreigners desk. I strongly believe that anyone who comes to Croatia should learn as much Croatian as they are capable of learning. However, it's the foreigners desk. You're only working with foreigners. They need to be able to speak English to them. That is the most common language amongst everybody. And that the fact that that is still an issue just blows my mind. So that would be my message.
And can I just add one quick message? The one thing that we said to you, Dora, is we are older for digital nomads. You know, it's very much, and I completely agree with, needs to be targeted at, you know, young, vibrant people who do marketing and coding and all the rest of it. However, there's also lots of people who are remote workers who could come and live here, a huge bank of people that could bring prosperity and income into the country. So don't just market it at certain generations. I'm 46, my husband's 54. I hope you don't mind me mentioning our ages, but
yeah, a bit late.
a bit late.
Immediately, that's it.
We've got a hopefully richness to bring to the community and income to spend. So yeah, please broaden the range.
I mean, does anybody else have any questions?
That actually was my second one, but thank you, Kevin. Next time you're a moderator.
Yeah.
I anyhow want to go on the seaside. Now I'm in Zagreb and it's really hot, so I'm ready. Anyone? Or comments? Like if you're shy at the moment, you can always. Oh, we have a raised hand from Throwback Trades. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Dora. Hi, Sara. I was with you in a call last August.
Yes. Hi. It's nice to see you.
Good. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm finally in Croatia. I was going to come in January, but it was too hard. I'm from Guatemala, and it was very hard for COVID and all that. So, but I have been here since last Tuesday, and I'm in Zagreb right now. And
we can have a coffee.
Welcome.
Thank you. I really like it. Weather is very nice. So yeah, but I was actually filling my form like 1 hour ago, and I wanted to do it because I thought that maybe I will have some questions. So maybe you can help me with that, and I can help others with that questions. Very quickly. So when you fill the form, they ask you, like, the first thing they ask you is if this is for approval for a temporary stay, or approval for permanent stay, which is not, or approval for autonomous stay. And I don't know if it's autonomous is the same as the digital nomad, or is it temporary stay? I don't know.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're applying for temporary stay. So autonomous stay is only used for when people are applying for permanent residence, because you always have to have a permit at any given time. You can't go without a permit. And when you're applying for permanent residence, it takes much longer for that to be approved than for temporary stay. So when you reach the point, depending on what your situation is, it could be 4 years or 5 years. When you qualify for permanent, you apply for permanent and autonomous stay at the exact same time. So autonomous it functions almost like a temporary stay, but it's kind of like an extension.
Okay.
So that's what that's for. So whenever you're applying for the first time, or even any of your permits up to the point where you qualify for permanent, you're always applying for temporary stay. That's a great question.
Okay. Yeah, because we read Digital Nomad all parts. In your blog, you say it's not a Digital Nomad Visa in your page. So that's why I thought it was the first, but I was not sure.
Don't confuse people.
That's one of my pet peeves, yes.
Okay, so other, but are very fast. Yeah, name of the authority to which application is submitted. So what happens if, for example, nomads like me come and we are thinking of maybe leaving in July? I want to see if I go to Split to live in July, or 1 month in Split, other month in other part of the coast. I don't know, like, if I should be applying here in Zagreb, but I'm afraid that I apply here and they need more information. I have to take a bus back. I don't know, like, digital nomads move in a way. So what is your advice for where to apply and how much needed is for me to be coming back, or should I stay in one place? Like, that's my
recommendation would be to stay in one place during the period of time where your application is being reviewed and processed, because they are going to call you back in. And once you're approved, you are going to be asked to provide a more permanent address.
Okay. So basically, better choose where and stay there. And the
Yes,
process
it doesn't
could
mean
be,
you can't travel around, but especially during the application process, it's really important that you stick around.
and the period of that is what, 3 months, 1 month?
I mean, it varies.
Depends.
It really varies from 1 to 3 months. I'd say average is 2, but you know, there are situations where it can be longer. It can be 3 or 4 or 5. It's just every situation is completely different. Every human that processes the applications is different. Every city is different. But I would say 1 to 3 months is what you should prepare for. And it's not to say that you couldn't take like shorter trips. Like you could go on shorter trips, just maybe not go for, you know, a month or 2 months or something. Yeah.
Okay. And last parts of the form, thank you for that answer. They ask for an OIB number when you're talking about the company either that you have or that you're working for.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine that if it's not a Croatian company, you don't have to provide it on the form.
Right. So an OIB is not required for residents. It's used for any kind of financial transaction. So if you're not signing up for state health insurance, you're not opening a bank account, you don't need an OIB for anything. You can always get one if you want. It's essentially like a social security number or a SOFI in the Netherlands, you know, and it's your ID number, but you don't absolutely need it for residents. You can get it. It's free. You can request it over email. It's pretty easy. They started offering email applications during the pandemic. So it's something that you can request if you want. It's really up to you.
Just on that point, Sarah, it actually took us longer to get our OIB than it did our residency permit.
Really?
Applied for it online and chased them, and then finally I got it through. But yeah,
wow.
It took longer for that than it did for the permit.
That's well, not shocking, but varied. Yeah, I've talked to a lot of people who have requested them. Some requested them before they even got here, and they were able to get them mailed to their foreign addresses. So, yeah, some of the tax offices people had problems with people replying, but then in some cases they got theirs in like a week. But it's really good to know everybody's experience because, you know, that's how everyone is able to understand what the expectations are. What could possibly happen. Okay,
perfect. I think those were all. I only had the last one, which was like they asked you your income. Like I imagine you have to put there your monthly or the real yearly income for the year you want to stay, right?
You show your income for your recurring income for the last 3 months, and if to exceed the threshold that they've set, which is about 17,000 kuna. Yeah. And if your monthly income for the last 3 months does not exceed that monthly amount, then you have a second option where you can show that you have that amount, 17,000 kuna times 12 in one lump sum in a bank account. So those are the two options.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. So that was all. I'm filling this out.
Hey, but if you're in Zagreb, let us know. Like, we're also here. It will be nice to have a coffee. We can also maybe somehow help you with connecting you with the right people. I don't know. I'm also like kind of expat in Zagreb after 7 years living in the Netherlands. It's also different to be back. I didn't have my own ID for a couple of months because yeah, it was complicated to do it and so on. But thank you, everyone. We're coming to the end.
I think Kelly had a question as well, Dora.
Oh, okay. I don't see it.
I think she raised her hand.
Okay, Kelly, please go. Oh, no, I raised the hand. Hello, Kelly.
Maybe not.
I only see a comment from Forrest that he wrote something regarding taxable passive income. So basically, Jan de Jong did in the May 31st on Rotary E-Club panel discussion that he's seeking a change to legislation to officially include passive income as exempt from Croatian tax for digital nomads. So hopefully this goes well. Yeah, thank you, Forrest, for this information. Yeah, maybe you can also put the link under like somewhere, not maybe now because it's end of the chat, but like maybe on Facebook group. Also, it's good to put those kind of links for others that are maybe looking more into different options. Do we have maybe some other questions? Okay, we're over the time. I know that our panelists have to do it. Today have other meetings at once, so let them give some break. Thank you, everyone, for helping us. I think it was very, very insightful. Like, I mean, for me, definitely, and I think for lots of people that are looking or that are already in Croatia. We will announce other webinar. We hope in 2 weeks. We are hoping to bring a governmental person and maybe another digital nomad, or even maybe Sara, because yeah, there are lots of things that Sara can still share that were not managed to discuss today. And then from that period of time, like basically from today, we really hope every 2 weeks have a new topic. If you have any questions, if you have any ideas, what you don't understand, please write us. You can find us at the Going Remotely website, or hello@goingremotely.com, or Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. We basically use everything. And let us know. We are really like, yeah, we really want to do a change in the system and build a nice community of digital nomads, remote workers in Croatia. Thank you, everyone. And yeah, hope to see you all somewhere soon.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
So much. Yeah. Bye.